Hi, LIBA 150 students. My name is Sarah Cordish. I'm the Associate Director for Career Development at the Mount. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys a little bit about what our office does and how we can support you as students. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Got a little presentation for you guys today. I'll go through the slides, but the slides are also going to be available to you in your Canvas course. So if there are any of the resources I'm talking about that you want to explore further, you'll have access to those as well. So during today's presentation, I'm going to be talking about, again, what our office does and how we can support you as students and alumni from the Mount. We're going to be exploring majors and careers a little bit, talk about how you can do that during your time here. And then we're going to talk a little bit about professionalism and why that's important to you. Obviously, it's important when you start your job at the end of your schooling, but also important to start thinking about now and getting into some professional practices. So within Career Development's office, there is myself, as well as Kim Washington. She's our Director for Student Success and Persistence. So she oversees career development as well as advising and tutoring on campus. Primarily, if you are looking for assistance with career exploration, job searching, those kinds of things, you would likely meet with me. But Kim is also available if you should have questions. So what do we do? The mission of career development at the Mount is to proactively assist students with career planning initiatives from matriculation to beyond graduation. So what that means is from the time that you start here as students, which you all are at this moment, until after you've graduated, it could be, years down the road, we are here to support you in your career needs. So at any point, if you should have a career question, please feel free to reach out to us. I have worked with a number of alumni who, go through career changes, things like that, and come back to us for assistance. So what is it that we actually do? One of the biggest things that we support students with is individual appointments. So you can just come to us with your questions or your needs, whatever that may be, and we'll help you with those things. You can schedule an appointment with us through Navigate, which is the system that you'll be using to schedule any of your appointments on campus, tutoring, advising, those kinds of things. We also will help with major and career exploration. So if you're, maybe you picked a major or you're undecided and you're not really sure what you want to do, you can come meet with us. We've got a variety of different career assessments that you can take to help you figure those things out. And we can also just talk about, what are you interested in? What are the things you really value to help find a career path that's going to be meaningful for you? We also help with resume and cover letter review. So whether you're at the point where you've never written a resume before, or maybe you have that high school one you wrote, but it's not really up to date, you can come talk to us and we will help you to get something that's really solid and really going to help you look good to employers. Or if you're at the point where maybe you found a job and you want to apply next week and you just want to tweak that resume, make sure you're best representing yourself, that's something we can help with as well. We also conduct mock interviews. So if you have an interview coming up and you're really nervous about it, not sure what to expect, that's something that we can practice with you, either just kind of answering your questions or doing a full-blown mock interview so that you can practice those skills. We also help with job and internship search assistance. So if you're not really sure where to start or if you're feeling really stuck, come see us and we can share tips and tricks on how to engage in that process. We also can help similarly with grad school applications, talking you through what does that process look like, or if you want somebody to look over your personal statement, we've got a lot of resources for that. And then we also do different on-campus and virtual events. We're working to put together a series of events for the fall right now, and then we'll be doing another series of events in the spring. Every spring, we also do a big career fair that you're all invited to attend. So that'll be something to look forward to as well. Another service that we offer to students I wanted to highlight specifically is our Mountie Career Closet. So there's a room on campus that's actually over in St. Gert's Hall attached to the main building where it's full of professional clothing. So this is anything that you could need for an interview or starting a new job. And all of this clothing is completely free to students. So maybe, you have an interview coming up or some sort of event where you need to wear professional clothing. You can make an appointment with us through Navigate. We'll take you down to the closet, help you find something that works for you. So we've got a variety of sizes and styles and different types of things. And then anything you find that works for you, you get to keep. So there's no obligation to bring those clothes back. So if you want to do this proactively and just get some professional clothing to have for when an interview might arise, you're welcome to do that too. So we also have some funding available. So if you should need, if you can't find anything in our closet and should need a gift card or something, we can also talk about the possibility of that too. So career closet's super cool. I encourage you to take a look. Again, most of the clothes is new or has been donated by members of the Mountie community or the local community. So lots to offer through the career closet. We also have a number of online resources that are available to students. One of those being the Career Development Hub. This is kind of a go-to spot for do-it-yourself career content. So, if my computer will let me here, I will take us over to the Career Hub website. This is kind of the go-to place if you've got a quick career question, you're not really sure you have time to make an appointment, or you just want to do some things on your own, you can come to this site. This is available through your student tab on the MyMac portal as well. So when you get to the Career Hub, you'd actually go up to the Student and Alumni Resource tab. And then from there, we've got resources on exploring majors, resumes, cover letters, all of the things that you see listed here. So for example, let's say you were exploring your major and you weren't really sure what you wanted to do, you could come to this tab and you can see we've got tips for exploring majors. You can link to what are all the majors we have at the Mount. We've also got some YouTube videos of students who have been in different majors talking about their experience. And we also have a few of those assessments available on this website. So if you want to take the Focus 2 career planning assessment, that's accessible here as well. And I'd really recommend that to anyone who is not really sure on what they're looking for. It's a really great resource. So again, tons of resources that you can look at on here. I'll just show you one more quickly, the resumes, cover letters tab. So if you were wanting to start your resume, you could come to this page. If you scroll to the bottom, we've got a starter resume for every major. So you could download, say you're accounting, download that, and it's got everything formatted for you. All you really have to do is go in and input your information. So highly recommend that. Again, really structured, a lot of really good tips that are available to you at any point. Another really great online resource we have to offer is Handshake. So this is a resource that connects employers, students, and colleges. So on this page, let's see here. Okay. I will just access it this way. The link should work when you're given the access to the PowerPoint through your Canvas course. But Handshake has a lot of job opportunities, events, different things that are available to students. When you log in, it will look something like this. Every student does already have a Handshake account created for them, but you will need to log in and activate your account in order to use it. But it makes recommendations based on the information that you put in. So if you go to your profile, which is located up here, you're able to input information about your interests, your major, and then employers can see that. If you do come in and complete your profile, so I've got a little bit of work to do on my profile completion. Once it's completed, employers will message you. I've gotten messages from the Army, from Disney College Program, different places like that, because they're interested in connecting with students and offering opportunities. So again, this is a really great resource to use if you're looking for jobs or internships. Just to show you a couple other things within Handshake, if you go up to the jobs tab, you'll be able to filter jobs based on your interests. So we do have some collections. So if you were looking for places close to campus or that hire from our school, you can filter that way. Or if you're just curious, okay, I'm from Johnstown, what is available in Johnstown on site, and maybe I'm looking for an internship. I can click all those filters and it'll bring up everything that's relevant to that. I can also search. So if I was specifically looking, say, for accounting, I can filter in that way as well. Looks like there isn't anything for that at the moment, but let's try nursing. So there is, for example, one nursing internship available in Somerset. So again, lots that you can do here. There's also information about events. So there's a lot of virtual webinars. So if you wanted to know, for example, what it's like to work at AFLAC, you could join this event and see information about that. So I encourage you to get into the Handshake system, check it out, connect with different employers. And if you have any questions about how to access Handshake or what to do once you're actually in the system, that's another great place to make an appointment with me, and I'm happy to go through that system with you. Jumping back over to our presentation. That kind of gives you an overview, like I said, of career development services. Whoops. But now I kind of want to talk to you about what to do if you are a little bit unsure on your major. There are a bunch of different reasons why a student might choose a particular major, right? You might choose it because you're excited about it. You might choose it because it's going to offer you a lot of money or job security. It might just sound cool, right? Like, who doesn't want to be like a broadcaster on TV or something like that, right? Something that you've seen that you're interested in. You might choose a major because you have friends in the major and you're not sure what else to pick. The major might offer you better career opportunities than another one or what you were doing prior to that. Someone you know has told you that it's a good career. You know, we've always heard, you know, being a doctor is a good career, right? So it might be led into that by people that we know. Or you aren't really sure what else to pick. I've heard all of these reasons from students as to why they've chosen their major. Obviously, some are probably a little bit more sound than others, but definitely all things that happen. So I would encourage you to kind of think about what is your current major, if you've chosen one, and what your motivations for that might be. Because some research has actually been done on this. And what studies have found is that students tend to be most satisfied and happiest when you choose a major that you really enjoy, that you're willing to work hard at, and that aligns with your strengths and your interests. So if you're feeling unsure, try to think about these things, right? What are the subjects in high school that you really enjoyed? Or if it wasn't even school, like maybe it's sports, right? Like, what are the activities that you've really enjoyed? And that's a really good starting place to think about. And then figuring out what majors might align with that so that you can work toward a career. I also really want you guys to know that it is really common to change your major. Approximately 30% of college students, and that number honestly might even be higher now, change their major at least one time. And I think also another stat from this study was that about 1 in 10 students changes their major multiple times. So it is very normal. I highly encourage you during your first year at the Mount to do some career exploration. Come talk to us, do that focus 2 survey, things like that, just to see if you know what you've chosen, what you're thinking about feels right and makes sense for you. Again, we've talked about the Focus 2 assessment. This is kind of a snapshot of what it looks like when you log in. Totally free assessment. Again, you sign in with your Mac email and then you use the code MOUNTY as your password to get in. But this site has you answer a bunch of questions about, you know, what do you want to do for work? What do you value in work? And what's really nice about the Focus 2 is that it's connected with our majors. So, you know, if you love reading and writing and blah, 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 it might say, you know, here are the majors at the Mount that you should maybe consider looking at. ONET Interest Profiler is another really good free online assessment. So if you want to take both, go for it. Once you've taken these assessments, if you'd like somebody to go over your results with you or discuss what they might mean for you, I'm happy to help you with that as well. So lots of things that you can do if you're feeling unsure. But regardless of if you think you know what you want to do, if you're not sure, I want to share these tips with you of ways to, you know, feel more confident in that decision. Because again, if you're feeling more confident, you're going to be more excited about the major and you're probably going to work harder at what you're doing in college. So my first tip for you all is to utilize your school's career center and resources. Come see me, come talk to career development, use the online resources, just check some things out. You know, the more work that you put in, the more you're going to get out of it. And I think that's true for your classes, that's true for career exploration, everything really. So make sure that you're putting in some effort to understand what you want to do. Also talk with your professors. If you're taking a class, maybe you're in, Psych 101 and you're really liking it and you're like, oh, what could I do with this? Talk to your professors. They've likely, a lot of them have worked, in industry outside of academia before, or know people that are working in those fields, in those spaces. So they might be really good resources to ask about what are options within this field? What could I do with a degree in, say, psychology or business, those sorts of things. They're going to be really good resources for you as well. Attend career and job fairs as frequently as possible. As I mentioned earlier, we do offer a big career fair every spring. We do that in conjunction with St. Francis. And at that event, like last year, we had over 80 employers on campus for that event. So that's a really great way to go and just learn about what's out there. I think a lot of times we come in knowing what we know, right? We know doctors, we know lawyers, we know teachers. Those are all really good careers. But, did you know that community organizing is a thing? Did you know that you could work at a college in higher education, right? There's different jobs out there that you might not even know exist. So by attending different career fairs, different job fairs, and talking with those potential companies, you'll learn a lot more about those career paths and what you would need to do to get there. Step out of your comfort zone. I encourage students always to get involved. That could be attending those types of events with employers. I know it can be super intimidating. Again, that's a place where career development can help you, right? We can talk you through what's that going to look like? What kind of questions should I ask? How can I get more comfortable with networking or talking to employers? Also, join different clubs and organizations. Take a class that you're not really sure about because you just want to try it. Do some job shadowing, take an internship, right? There's so many different opportunities to get involved and to try new things. And a lot of times that's how you're going to figure out what you want, or alternatively, what you don't want. I've had students who have done an internship and they ended up not loving it. But that can be just as valuable as doing something and loving it, because you figure out, I was working with a student who was a marketing major. He did an internship in the field and he was like, this is not for me. This is not what I thought it was going to be. So then was able to kind of pivot a little bit and figure out what he wanted to do within business. And then that for him, he thought was marketing, and then it turned out to not be. So again, lots of value in, lots of value in trying different experiences. And finally, never turn down a good opportunity. If there's an event happening on campus and you're like, I'm not sure, I'm a little busy, say yes, try things. Maybe someone offers to mentor you in a career field, or have a coffee chat just to talk about what they do. Take advantage of those opportunities, because you never know where they could lead for you. So I would like to kind of shift a little bit now to talk about professionalism. As I mentioned, it's something that's important throughout your schooling, as well as obviously when you start a job. So professional is defined as characterized by or conforming to the technical or ethical standards of a profession, or alternatively, exhibiting a courteous, conscientious, and generally business-like manner in the workplace. So the second definition is the one that I'm going to focus on more today, right? How is it that you're composing yourself, that you're demonstrating your behavior towards your future employer, right? Or your professors. Professionalism extends beyond the workplace. You want to start acting in ways that are professional now, so that you develop these habits that are going to follow you into the workplace, right? So just to give you an example off the top of my head, being on time, that's such an important one, right? So make sure that you're working to be on time for class. If you're an athlete, be on time to practice, right? Because when you start a job, you're going to have to show up on time for work, or that's going to have negative consequences. So there are different aspects of professionalism. We're going to talk a little bit about time management, organization, accepting personal responsibility, and communication. So again, obviously with time management, it's important to show up on time. A lot of times too, in the workplace, but even just as a college student, you're responsible for your own stuff, right? In high school, you had a pretty structured day for most of you. They told you what to study, and then you take the test on it. In college, it's a little bit more flexible. They're going to lecture in class, but you might be responsible for reading. You might be responsible for writing papers outside of class time. You're going to need to get all of those done to do well in class. So you need to learn to manage your time so that you're going to be able to be successful with that. Organization, kind of similar, figuring out times that you can do things, keeping a system for you that works. That might be using a planner, that might be using a Google Calendar, organizing, different folders or notebooks or whatever that may be. Also accepting personal responsibility. There are things that happen that might prevent us from getting to class, but it's your responsibility to notify your professors if something should come up, right? If you don't get an assignment turned in on time, you need to communicate that. If you need an extension, you need to communicate that, because you're the only one who can take responsibility for what's going on. And finally, communication, we're going to delve into a little bit deeper, but there are so many important ways to communicate with your peers, with your faculty, in order to be successful. So the three main types we're going to talk about are verbal, nonverbal, and written. Verbal communication would be the conversations that we're having. So when you're in class, participating, right? Showing your professor that you're interested, engaging in and taking responsibility for your own learning. Phone calls, if you need to call somebody about something, make sure that you're, comporting yourself in a professional manner. Make sure that your voicemail on your phone is very professional. Most often in professional communication, businesses, professors are going to be emailing you. They're going to be using your Mount student email. So make sure that you're checking your email often. That's a big one. But your voicemail as well, if they can't get a hold of you via email, there might be a chance that your advisor might call you, for example. You want to make sure that that sounds really professional, because by the time that you start applying for jobs and interviewing, they're going to call. And if you don't pick up, they're going to leave a voicemail. And if it's like, hey, can't get back to you, bye, like, you want to make sure that you're sounding professional and putting off, the perspective of somebody that they're going to want to hire. So check your voicemail if you haven't in a while. Nonverbal communication, also very important. Your body language. So if you're sitting in class all like arms crossed, slumped, that gives an air of, I'm not interested in what's going on right now. So make sure that you're, smiling, sitting up straight, dressing in ways that are going to show that you care about what you're doing, especially for jobs and interviews, right? Dressing well. You can start practicing that now as a student if you're able. Also nonverbals, if you're on your phone, texting, on your laptop during class when you're not taking notes, those are all things that demonstrate I'm not interested, I don't care, right? So we want to be professional. We want to show that we're interested and that we're paying attention. Eye contact, tone of voice, and just in general, your actions speak louder than words. So make sure that you're really aware of how you're behaving, right? Like we've been talking about, paying attention, cleaning up after yourself, etc. And finally, written communication, kind of touched on this already, but make sure that you are, if you can't turn something in, you're late, you're communicating that. If you have assignments, make sure that you're following the instructions and you're doing what you need to do there. And your social media. Most employers use social media in their job search. They will look you up on Instagram or Facebook or wherever, LinkedIn especially. So if there's anything that you would never want your boss to see, don't put it on social media. You can use privacy settings and things like that, but it's the internet. There are ways around that. There are ways that you can find information. So again, if you don't want your professor to see it, if you don't want your future boss to see it, I would encourage you to not post it. I did want to talk a little bit about writing professional emails in specific detail, because again, this is the primary way that employers and your professors are going to be communicating with you. So it's good to practice this now. And you're actually going to have an assignment after this presentation or for class today, where you'll be writing an email. So make sure that you're paying attention to this. So first big thing with an email is your subject line. Tell the reader what you're writing about. I get a lot of emails from students that say no subject. How am I supposed to know what you need from me if this is important, right? If it's, something about a class assignment, say class assignment today, make it very clear. So in this example, he put UX research contract opportunity, very clear. You want to make sure that you have a clear heading, a clear salutation, So you're saying, hello, good morning, something like that. I would also encourage you to use formal titles until told otherwise. So it's always best to say Professor Cordish or Dr. So-and-so rather than the first name, unless you've been told otherwise. Again, just a sign of respect, professionalism. Then in your message, you want to make sure that you're explaining what it is that you need. So in this email, He explains, I'm reaching out today because I'm managing an application redesign project here at ABC Company and seeking a skilled UX research contractor to help analyze several sets of usability testing data. This is a 3-month project beginning February 1st. We estimate it will take roughly 15 hours a week. All work can be completed remotely, but you're welcome to use our workspace. So he very clearly outlines what's going on, gives details, explains the timeline, and all of that. In the closing, he says, please let me know if you're interested in this project and we can set up some time to discuss the details further. I look forward to hearing from you. So not only is this polite, but he's giving next steps, right? If you're interested, tell me, and then we can move forward. In your emails to professors, employers, make sure you have a next step, right? What is it that you need? Do you need information? Do you need to meet? Make sure that that's clearly outlined. And then you always want to sign off with a signature. So very clearly, thank you, sincerely, your name, and any other relevant information. So those are the basics of writing a strong email. I do want to go through and show you quickly 2 examples of a revised email. So you can pause this video if you want to take a minute to look through these. So now, assuming that you've paused and gone through this, I just want to point out some key differences. So the one on the left could be an email that I've received from a student before, right? A lot of misspellings. There's no subject line. There's a lot of slang. They also call their professor by their first name. It's difficult for the faculty to really understand what they need, right? They said, my assignment that's due tomorrow. Well, what assignment? What class are we even talking about? And also it doesn't really give the instructor any direction. In the revised email, it's very clear what the student needs help with, right? They say it's English, 375, and Wednesday's essay assignment. Okay, very clear. Then within the email, he specifically outlines, I'm having trouble with a thesis statement. I see what your office hours are, but I can't make it. Here are some other suggestions. So again, very clear about what they need and when they need to be there. So I encourage you all to try to write your emails a little bit more like the second one and a little bit less like the first one, again, so that your faculty can provide the best assistance to you. Also, just wanted to leave you with a suggested email signature. You don't have to do this, but I think it can be really helpful, including your name, when you're planning to graduate, what your degree is, and then your contact information. So the best email to reach you, if you want to provide a phone number, you can, but email is always the best too. All right, so having now gone through how to write a professional email, it is your turn. So you are going to have some homework for this course today based on what we've learned. So your instructions are to write and send an email to your LIBA 150 instructor. So you're actually going to open up a blank email and do this task. So you're going to write in the subject line, LIBA 150, career development homework. Write it exactly like that so they know what you were writing about. Then in your email, you need to write 2 things that you learned about career development during today's presentation. So if any of the stuff I just talked about, explain 2 of them to your professor. Then you'll need to request a meeting with your professor to discuss what you've learned, offering possible meeting times. You don't actually have to meet with your professor. This is just for practice. But, maybe you say something like, I wasn't really sure on XYZ topic. Can we meet to talk about it? Here are some times that I'm available, right? So I want you to practice how you might word that to a professor. And finally, don't forget to use polite professional greetings. Again, we're practicing our professional communication, and include your name. Make sure they know who this email is coming from. So that's your assignment from me. Again, just a note, this is practice. You don't actually have to meet with them. But hopefully this has been helpful just to give you some insight into what career development does on campus and how we can be beneficial to you. If you take away one thing from today's presentation, it's just that if you have questions, you can come chat with us. Currently, our office is in the works. We are being moved around a little bit, but some point in this semester, we will be up in the library on the 2nd floor in the brand new career center. So that's where you'll be able to find me. But also here's my contact information. You can call my office number or shoot me an email, or as always, make an appointment with us on Navigate. We do also have an Instagram account, so if you're looking for a little bit more career content in your life, we post a lot of different articles, tips and tricks and things like that, events, giveaways, stuff like that. So feel free to connect with us there as well. Thank you all so much for your time today. I really appreciate, you listening to this presentation, and hopefully you will take advantage of career development services throughout your time at the Mount. So thank you all, and have a great rest of your day.